Welcome to Relationship Mastery, a podcast for those who want to learn how to master the art of creating happy, healthy, and loving relationships. Please join me, Adey-Jones, and my co-host, Barry Selby, each Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific for a lively and informative conversation on everything to do with relationships. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another week. And today, Barry and I are going to talk about what attracts us to the bad boy / bad girl. And when I mentioned the title to Barry, he chuckled. So I have a feeling Barry has some experience with some bad girls or bad boys.
Well, okay. How do I start this?
Let's just talk about what some of the things before we go in our own personal stories about hands up, I've definitely had my fair share of bad boys, for sure. And I've been a bad girl, I'll have to admit. And what about you, Barry? Have you been a bad boy ever?
No, and I'll explain why I want to get to that point. But I've definitely had temptations around bad girls. I'm trying to think if I've actually hung out. One time, I think I've been dancing with a bad girl.
Yeah. Oh, only once.
Right.
Okay. So, just want to go over some of the things that what motivates us, what attracts us to these, these bad girls, bad boy types, and it can be so many different reasons. I just want to touch on a few of them, and certainly for me, it was growing up in a dysfunctional environment. Anything less than drama felt like I was dying, flatlining. I needed that drama in my life to feel alive. That's often a very common one. I also know some people that had very stable lives and very traditional, and it was almost like a rebellion against that. It's like they maybe they had controlling parents, very as I say, traditional, conventional, and they felt constricted and confined, and they wanted to just experience something completely different and basically say an fu to their parents and their families by running off with a bad boy. I've definitely witnessed that in my life. That wasn't the case in mine, but as I said, mine was more the dysfunction and getting, we've talked about this before. When you're in an unstable relationship, there is always that heightened like adrenaline. That where do I stand? How am I in? Am I out? And all of these feelings, and that can create a state of limerence, which we've talked about, which is that cocktail of drugs that we can create within our own body, the oxytocin, the adrenaline, and everything that has us feel high, literally high. So there can be a high from being with so-called bad girl, bad boy, dangerous types. When I say dangerous, I'm not talking about the ones that are going to kill you. I'm talking about the ones that cause emotional damage.
But also the ones that, in a way, create this sort of spice and the excitement of being something outside the norm. And the thing is, I mean, just to speak to that from a male perspective, because I shared about this on the podcast last week, and I shared basically that growing up, there was only, I believed, two ways of being as a man, or as a boy even, which is to be like the macho type, which I sort of correlate with the bad boy, which is kind of that ego-driven, selfish, self-centered, my way, the highway type idea, or be the nice guy, which is what the route I chose because it couldn't be that callous. So I became the nice guy. I didn't know there was any other options. So as a teen, as an young adult, I was somewhat straight-laced and reserved because I was afraid of the damage I would do if I was going to be the bad boy type person. However, that didn't stop certain women who wanted to corrupt me, in quotes, to tease me out of that sort of complacency and niceness. And I did have one, an escapade, I won't call it a relationship, where we had so much fun because she basically showed me a way of being that I wasn't experienced to before. And so the bad girl type thing wasn't illegal necessarily. It's just about the spiciness and the sexiness that came out of that place, which frankly I think every woman can do if they want to, without violating their values and their standards. Because the thing is, there's but there's like a spectrum, so to speak, of being bad in terms of not being straight-laced and normal. Then there's bad that is illegal and breaking the law and everything else. So there's a range of that. And so for me, my experience was I didn't cross that line in that callousness, although I certainly did nudge that line a couple of times. But it's something with one relationship in particular, I remember vividly just how much fun it was, because there was this sense of like, it wasn't breaking the law, but it was some sort of breaking the barrier, breaking the boundaries that I had set up inside.
Yeah.
So that was
That's
so
it.
fun my experience.
Yeah, and it's gosh, there's so much there that I wanted, that I kept going, whoa, yes, yes, yes. And a few of them were, well, first of all, I was reflecting for a second on growing up. I had a sister that was a year older than me that I would describe as a bad girl. I mean, in the sense of she was fiery. I always used to say she would be like off with their heads. It's like if you did anything, you were done. And I was
Yeah.
the type that was running around like trying to stitch heads back on, make everything nice again. And
Yeah.
I noticed when we got into our teens that she had men like, oh, she was also very beautiful, but I mean, much prettier than me. So she had men like falling for her left, right, and center. But it wasn't just that; it was her callousness. I'll put it that way.
Mm.
Her her entitlement, her a way of being that was also very attractive to men.
Yeah.
Um, and I witnessed that, and I remember thinking, "Gosh, I'm the sort of wearing my heart on my sleeve, you know, easygoing, trying to make everybody else happy, everything." And but I noticed that, and when I came to America, and nobody knew me, nobody knew the family dynamics. I wasn't, because my sister was also very much, you have to behave this way. I'm this way, you're that way.
Hmm.
When I came here and I was 21, I really could just experiment and play. And I played being like her. And
Right.
I noticed that I had like men like dropping like flies around me. I thought that is really interesting. The playing hard to get, being aloof, being fickle, being propitious, whatever. Just that sort of energy of not being too, I suppose, codependent or too loving or whatever it was very attractive to a certain type of guy.
Yeah.
So that was one comment I wanted to make. So in some ways, we were very similar in that we both, it wasn't our natural state to be selfish and callous and uncaring. It was definitely a role that I played with. And thank God I don't do it anymore. It was like I could see how, wow, that was interesting, but not how I want to live my life. But
Hmm.
the other thing you said about the it's not breaking the law, but it's breaking the barriers. And what we do is when we are very so-called good, we create these rules for us to live by, and question those rules. We just live within them. This is who I am. This is the confines of my personality. This is what I do and don't do. And
Yeah.
then you see somebody that's got very different boundaries and very live by, more carefree, less caring about other people or whatever it is. There was something like you go, wow, it's your shadow. It's the side of you that doesn't get to play. And so
Okay.
you really attracted to that because it's like and attracted that they give you permission to maybe step outside of your box a bit.
Right.
And that's where the thrill, the excitement comes from is the shaking you up.
It's almost like, and I agree with you absolutely. It's almost like cheating on myself. Like it's like I'm stepping out from my sort of comfort, safety place that I've been living in because that's where I'm supposed to be, to live on
Mhm,
the edge. The experience that was sort of like cheating on who I was in a way. So looking that way, and I agree
mhm,
with you. The thing is, there is such a temptation, titillation, excitement that happens because it's so contrasting to what we're normally used to. And I think it's that difference that makes it so attractive. It's not just a little nudge like, oh, it's fun. So that's so radically different. It's like, whoa, what is that? And want to find out more about it. And it becomes a very, it's temptation. It's tempting. It's something to go check it out. And so there's definitely this, um, the hunger is not the right word, but attraction to that difference that really gets us going. So that's one of the things that does attract us to the bad person, so to speak.
yeah. Oh, it's so funny you should say that because I was just going to say it's also along with that sort of with so-called bad, we're using quotation marks with bad, there is often a level of like confidence, entitlement, disregard for other people's feelings or emotions or anything like that. And
Yep.
if, especially if we lack some of that sort of confidence in ourselves, that can look very attractive to us. We don't see it as abusive, we just see it as confidence. And confidence
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
is very attractive to somebody that lacks self-confidence. And talking about that, that brings me to another part that I think can really happen a lot. And that is, well, the people with low self-esteem or a lack of confidence gain confidence by winning over the unobtainable. So it's almost like a, if they, like say the so-called bad girl, bad boy is unobtainable, and everybody wants to capture them, and
Mhm.
you're the one that actually wins their attention. You're the one that's with them. It's validating for somebody that needs that validation. They don't have it from within. They tell themselves, "Oh my God, I'm so special. I was able to win this person over," whether you won them over and you think they're going to be faithful to you, or you won them over because you think you fixed them, or that you understand, whatever the reason is. But it's the procuring of the sort of wild animal of the, or the exotic. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not, I mean, it's not the run of the mill just anybody. It's like, wow, um I was able to attract them and capture them, and it's an interesting thing, and I see it so often with really amazing people
Mhm.
that don't have the confidence, and they feel that this unobtainable person has somehow validated them. Have you seen that with the people you've worked with?
It's a couple. Well, as that's one of the options. Definitely is to have this place of being so carefree, as in being uncaring. But also, I think for a lot of those particular people, one thing that comes up is they also sometimes are so wounded they don't risk being that immersed emotionally, so they don't risk opening their heart again and getting hurt again. So they play safe at the surface level, and so the bad quote behavior is safer for them because it keeps them in a place of emotional protection. So they don't risk sort of having the wounding. And so I think some people, I haven't done a survey to verify this, but I think a lot of the bad boys and bad girls have come through either a tremendously painful, disruptive, or upsetting breakup that they don't want to go there again. And so they want to go out and play another level where they can be more immune to that sort of temptation. So they can play in their own safety zone, which actually means less to them, even though it can be very sexy and very attractive. It's for them to protect themselves. So there's another way it can play out, I believe.
Yeah, 100%. That I would 100% is, that's another show. What makes a so-called bad girl
Yeah,
bad boy?
indeed, yes.
But really, I mean, but what we're talking about now is what attracts us to that. Why that moth to the flame? What attracts us to the dangerous, to the unobtainable, to the painful? What attracts us to that? What keeps us going back?
Partly
And
it's the spiciness that I mentioned earlier. It's definitely the excitement and the spiciness,
yeah,
but it's also it's a way in some ways to escape like our mundanity. How do you say the word? For the mundane existence that we think we have, even though it's not really accurate, we think we are. So we see the difference of contrast between, our grayness and their brightness. We go, oh, I want that. So it becomes
mhm,
very tempting, very exciting. And so it's almost like giving up everything to have that, even for a brief moment. So
mhm.
that's one of the reasons it drives us.
Yeah, and it's funny you're saying that, and it's such a, so many people are completely unaware that they just they'll say things like, "Oh, I've just got a broken picker," and it's like, no, your picker is doing exactly what it wants to do. You might not be aware of it, but it is totally, you are choosing. You're just not accidentally falling in love with these unavailable, types that care more about themselves than you. There is a reason. There's that you are trying to resolve some childhood trauma. Or, I mean,
Absolutely.
besides just being bored and liking the excitement, there's, for you to keep finding yourself in that repetitive pattern of these constant relationships with that have drama, dysfunction, abandonment, abuse, and infidelity, whatever you want to call it. But if you're in that cycle and you keep drawing in the same ones, as we always say, time for reflection, time for self-awareness. What
Yeah.
is, and I get it. I mean, the temptation is always there. I've worked with so many women where I say, give the nice guy a chance. You'll see, love is something that grows. It's not instant. The other stuff is all infatuation and projection, and then they all look at me and go, oh, I, I'm not attracted to him. I'm not attracted to him.
Right. No, because it's the other thing that's also different too. That the bad boy and bad girl vision it's like it's immediate attractive. It's like
Yeah.
love at first sight type thing, but it's not love. It's lust at first sight. Whereas, like you said, like get to somebody who isn't attracted to you initially, but it grows over time because you get to know the person who they are versus how they appear, and that appearance of that bad behavior is instantly chemical. It's
Mhm.
instantly attractive, and so it's almost like it overrides the nice person you want to really be with. So you
Mhm.
get pulled away into that temptation. So yeah, it's like being drawn to the flame.
It is, and it's so funny because I can still witness within myself that sort of that I see somebody I would have been attracted to years ago, and it's so interesting because I can really just stand back and go, wow, that I can see it so clearly that I would have been
Yeah.
100%. But now it's like, oh, been there, done that. It was great fun at the time. I mean, painful, but fun and exciting and all of that stuff. But don't want to repeat it. Don't want to repeat it. But I can still see that there's that as we say, that moth to that flame, that attraction to. And for me, I think it is also very much the it's certainly not trying to fix anybody. Certainly, it's familiar to me to be have that much chaos. And I think I shared before with having a father that I would see almost every day as I walked to school. I'd pass his house and never exchange a single word with him until I was 30. I really grew up with this. I got my longing and my loving mixed up. It's like I thought if I was
Yeah.
in longing, it meant I was in love because I longed for my father to see me, acknowledge me, look in my direction even. And the
Mhm.
same with my mother. I had a very hardworking mother that wasn't very emotionally available growing up. So there was this definite need to be special, to be seen, and to prove that I was worthy. That was a lot of why I was with these very challenging, difficult people. Not that I realized it at the time, but there was a part of me that felt special if I was the one they chose. And I mean, that's just a disaster waiting to happen.
Well, yeah, the thing is, it's almost like we want the escape from what. Again, I said about the greatness earlier. There is sometimes we get so testy at the comfort we live in, and we think it's just too simple, and we want something to stir the pot, to excite us, to be different. And it's that difference that really attracts us to something that is can be toxic for sure, but is fun and ideally playful initially, because that's what we want, something to fuel us, to lift us up, because we probably feel sort of stuck in a rut. And that shift. And so I understand, our upbringing can be influential that way because of what we've gone through or grown through. What what gets our rocks off might not be what we think is normal. We get drawn to that thing on the edge, that temptation that's not anything like what we're used to and comfortable with, because we want the difference. And that's
Yeah.
the first fuel.
And it's really funny. My attraction to sort of um, type of person I used to be very attractive to was always the creatives. It was always the artists, the writers, the confident people. Because again, that was my shadow. That's what I wasn't allowing myself to be, or to. Well, I shouldn't say that. Well, I mean, I went to art school. Of course, I was allowing myself to be, but I didn't have confidence in my own creativity. So therefore, I noticed it in other people, and I wanted that confidence about their art, about my art. So what I now do is if there's somebody that I find attractive, I really see that as okay, what is that mirroring to me that I am not cultivating within myself? What am I finding attractive out there? And it's a great way to be able to say, okay, now find it within yourself. because it's a part of you that you have held back, suppressed, or not believed in.
Right.
It's like maybe I'm just trying to think, even like say celebrity or an actor or something like that. There was that part of me that always felt shy. So when I saw somebody that was not shy and could stand on a stage and be seen, and that was very attractive to me. But I've cultivated that within myself now, so I'm less attracted to people that do that because they just it's like, yeah, we're all the same. We all do that. We all talk and stand on stages and allow ourselves to be seen.
Right.
So yeah, it's a very so it can be a wonderful tool to use that attraction to see what has been unacknowledged or underdeveloped within yourself, rather than, oh my God, I have to leave my partner. I've got this amazing attraction to this person, and I've got to run off with them because everything's going to be great. It's like it doesn't have to be one or the other. It could be, as I say, I acknowledge the attraction. What is it in me that needs to be developed here or to be nurtured?
Yeah, that is the wise approach. That is the mature approach. And it's the one that, frankly, a lot of people don't do because why they go through so many calamitous choices, including divorce and giving up the kids and moving away because they fell in love with this idea that wasn't real. And
Mhm.
so, to really, you know, one of the sort of spiritual teachings, is like take a breath, don't rush into things right away. But when it comes to chemistry and that bad boy or bad girl, it's almost like who breathes? It's like it's just don't jump straight in, and so it is, as you said, it's like the price we can pay if we don't take a breath first and look at things through a more um, observant perspective and see the choices we're making and what can be a better choice. It can really mess up. Oh, yes, it can indeed mess up our relationships.
Mm. Yeah, because attraction is going to be there. There's nothing wrong
Oh
with
yeah.
other people attractive. I think that's also something that happens is we're like, oh, we're in a relationship. We shouldn't find anybody else attractive. Well, you've made your world very tiny in a little box.
Yeah.
I've once had this therapist years ago who I absolutely loved. He said, love as many people as you want. Just don't have sex with them all. It's
Hmm.
like, but
Yeah.
he meant like love people. You can love people. You don't have to keep yourself in this tight little framework of, oh, I don't want temptation. Like, no, genuinely, you
Hmm.
know, love what it is you're attracted to another person about. You just don't run off with them, you don't sleep with them, unless you want to ruin the relationship. But you can
No.
certainly, as I said, um, see what quality it is um, what quality is that you wish you had in you, and I guarantee you can find it within yourself. You can develop it within yourself,
Oh
and that
yeah.
is a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. The other thing I just wanted to mention very quickly was oh, what was it? Media. We are fed all these romantic comedies.
Stop it
It's
with. Yeah.
all the sort of I mean what was the one? I'm blanking out here now. My childhood favorite was Jane Eyre. That whole sort of you know
Hmm.
plain Jane goes to work in this mansion with this grumpy old man. She tutors his child and then falls in love with him. And it's like, or Heathcliff or whatever. I mean, these are old books, but I mean, I don't watch romantic comedies now just because I'm like, oh, I can make good old drama. But it is, we've just fed it, and every song we listen to, it's all about the yearning and the aching and the you wanting, and it's
Well, that's the thing about the wanting. It's almost like we said earlier about the love everybody. Don't doesn't mean you have to go and sleep with everybody. I definitely have that experience with appreciating women, whether they're in a relationship or not, just because I love looking at women. It's not going to do anything about it. My mum used to say about my dad this is years and years ago, when they're still alive. But she said, always said to my dad, it's like you can window shop as much as you want, just don't buy anything. And I love that. I mean, it's so simple, but it's so true. It's like, you don't cross that line to cheat on the relationship. You can observe and witness and appreciate and just enjoy it. Don't do anything about it.
mhm,
Don't take any action that's going to disrupt and destroy your relationship. So you can have that. I won't say the cake and eat it too, but you can have the freedom to enjoy and appreciate. like you said, so you don't have such a constrained and shrunken world you live in. You can be open to observe and witness and love. But true loyalty is to the partner you're with. And yes, you can indeed spice that up too in different ways as well.
Mhm. Yeah, and oh gosh, there's something I just came in and went out again in my head about what you talked about. And again, it really does go back to knowing that this attraction that you have for another person is just the universe letting you know what you're neglecting within yourself. When you
Yeah,
come from the mind frame of, I'm attracted to this person because they have something I don't have, and to have them in my life will make my life better. It's that's such a skewed version of what attraction is really all about.
hmm
Attraction really is about letting you know what you're missing within yourself, and it doesn't come in the package of another person. It doesn't mean, oh, I have to leave this spouse because this is missing in me and I'm going to get it from this person. It's like, no, you can develop it within yourself. It's there. I mean, anything you recognize in another person is within you, otherwise you wouldn't recognize it.
absolutely. In fact, it's one of the gifts of when you start noticing what you're attracted to. That's feedback. You can just say, okay, so if that's not what I really want, what's inside of me that's drawn to that? So you
That
can make a different choice. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's beautifully and succinctly said, but that is exactly what it is. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's nothing to run away from. It's like, wow, oh, interesting. The universe has just sent me somebody along to help me see, myself that needs developing.
Yeah,
But yeah, don't panic if you're attracted to somebody else. It does not mean the end of your relationship. It just means that you're alive and that you are loosening the grip on who Dell is in my box or who Barry is in his box. You're just loosening that grip a bit and entertaining that there are more aspects of yourself that are undiscovered and waiting to come forth. So yeah, go out, fall in love, be as attracted to many people as possible. Just
but choose, but choose where you park yourself.
say that again.
Choose where you park yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that was a good chat. So any finishing last words there, Barry?
um, Again, just what my mum said about my dad. You can window shop as much as you want, just don't buy anything. That sums it up for me.
Okay, I love it. So funny. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. This is another great conversation. Thank you, Barry.
Yeah.
I
Thank
see
you,
you.
Del.
Take care.
Take care,
Bye.
of Bye.
We trust you enjoyed this episode and invite you to share this with your friends and loved ones. In fact, please subscribe to our Relationship Mastery podcast. That way you'll get each new episode fresh and shiny as soon as it is released. We'd love to hear from you as well, so go ahead and enter your questions and comments at relationshipmastery.show. Take good care. We will connect with you in our next episode of Relationship Mastery.